Hello, horror fans, and welcome. My name is Crystal, and today we're going to be talking about the 2022 film They/Them, with spoilers this time, so proceed with caution if you haven't seen this film yet. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be telling you about the film, the good, the bad, and my conclusion on whether or not you should watch it, so make sure to stay until the end. Also, there are timestamps if you want to skip around a little bit. Don't worry, I won't be offended. And to answer your question, no, I'm not wearing a wig today. This is my natural hair. I've been really busy lately, guys. I just didn't have it in me to do the whole theatrics with the wigs and the lashes and everything, so I'm just gonna kick it old school like I did when I first started my YouTube channel, and it's just me. Okay, so in the film They/Them, we follow a group of teenagers at an LGBTQ plus conversion camp as they endure unsettling psychological techniques while being stalked by a mysterious masked killer. It has a pretty long running time of almost 2 hours, and it's currently on Peacock at the time of this recording. The film was written and directed by John Logan, who worked on Sweeney Todd, Skyfall, and The Aviator. It stars Kevin Bacon, Theo Germain, and Anna Klumsky, who I love from Inventing Anna. So I remember talking about this film on here and was super interested in watching it, and well, now I have, so let's go. So the good. Okay, first and foremost, the inclusivity of the film is great. We have Theo Germain, who played Jordan. They were great. They brought a really cool energy to the film, like, I want to be friends with them. And then we had Quinn Tan, who played Alexandria, also amazing screen presence, Austin Kurt as Toby, Anna Lore as Kim, Monique Kim as Veronica, Cooper Koch as Stu, and Darwin Del Fabio as Gabriel. So yeah, a lot of representation for the LGBTQ plus community. So the first half of the film wasn't bad. The characters had really good scenes of expressing themselves and how they felt about their sexual orientation. I felt as if I was listening to real people tell their stories of how they dealt with their sexuality and how everyone felt about it around them. I really enjoyed that element of the film, and I had high hopes for the rest of it as I continued watching. The setting of the film was really cool too. I mean, who doesn't love a horror film about an isolated camp in the middle of nowhere in the woods with a masked killer running around? Kevin Bacon was pretty good as Owen too. Carrie Preston, who I know from True Blood, embodied the character of Cora, who was the camp's therapist and also wife of Owen. She was nasty, mean, and honestly, ugh. But I mean, that was her character. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people like Cora in this world. I also want to add in that there's like these really cool one-liners throughout the film that like made me smile, like when the girls said they knew how to shoot a rifle. If you know, you know. There was also the singing scene in the cabin that I know made people cringe, but honestly, it really didn't bother me. Even though I was getting like Disney Channel High School Musical vibes, it was okay. Okay, guys, so the bad. Oh gosh. Oh, the bad. Oh, the bad. First and foremost, I don't think I liked the idea. A film centered on a conversion camp that showed how they tortured these teens and young adults. I mean, there are so many young adults and teens who are brutally tortured emotionally, physically, and emotionally by others around them because of their sexuality, and it's forever an ongoing problem in the world. And I just don't have to see photos or it happening to know that it's real. And then, of course, we have the interaction between Cora and Jordan. This scene was just so uncomfortable. This is the scene where I almost wanted to turn it off and stop watching it. But I also wanted to see how the film ended, so I did keep watching. So to back it up a little bit, the reason that I felt so uncomfortable watching this scene is because I do not, and I will never think the way that these people do. Just so bigoted and closed-minded and judgmental against people who have absolutely no effect on their lives. Why worry about someone who isn't hurting anybody, who is just trying to find their identity and a place in this world? But before I go off on a tangent worthy of its own video, let's move on. And of course, we have the masculine and feminine scenes where they had like the girls make pies and the guys shoot guns. I also refuse to watch the scene with the poor dog. Like, no horror fan wants to see that. Sorry, but we don't want to see it. Then there's this like odd temptation scene between Kim and Sarah. I just don't know what the director and writer John Logan was like trying to accomplish here. Essentially, what this conversion camp is you bring these teens and young adults into this camp to tempt them into doing things that go with their nature of being gay, bisexual, trans, etc. And then you torture them for it? I mean, maybe this is more of an analysis of what happens in these conversion camps and maybe not so much the writer and the director, but at the same time, I was a little confused. I was a little lost. Then, with about 20 minutes left of the film, we do see the masked villain is actually going after the staff. So this is where it kind of redeemed itself just a little bit, because these horrible people did get what they deserve. Now, I say deserve lightly, because do I think that the punishment for these kinds of people is torture and death? No. Do they need to maybe educate and open their minds to something other than what they were taught and told as they were growing up? Absolutely. Then we get our final act where the killer unmasks itself as Molly/Angie. We get a little bit of a backstory, and we learn that Angie was actually an attendee to the camp, and she was tortured by Owen and then led a really horrible, empty shell of a life after she left the camp. And obviously, this is a revenge story. And the film ends with Angie getting arrested for obvious murdering reasons because she killed all of the staff. And the film ends with the main cast living their best lives. So in conclusion, my biggest qualm with this film is actually the bigger picture here. I'm happy to see that the LGBTQ plus community is being represented, but like, why this theme? Why a conversion camp as the subject line here? I understand this is a horror movie, but I don't know, maybe a different reason as to why they were all at this camp. Maybe it not even being a conversion camp altogether, but I know then that takes out the motive in the killer, etc. I mean, if you take out the masked villain, it's still a really scary horror movie about how these camps operate and how there's people in this world who think like the staff members at the camp. And that is a lot scarier than a revenge story, in my opinion. I was skeptical going into this film, but I was interested, of course, enough to watch it. But it just let me down. I really just hope that these writers and these filmmakers in Hollywood figure out how to include the LGBTQ plus community without having it be like a whole to-do or these like conversion camp storylines. Now, there are horror films out there that do this, don't get me wrong, there are, but I think that this film just really missed the mark. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for me and this video. If you like these kinds of videos, I have an entire playlist dedicated to horror movie reviews in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. You guys can follow me on my social medias if you want to. Links are in the description, and I'll see you guys soon.